Alrighty, now we're back out of here in the garden. And yeah, some of the weeds are taking over, but you know what I said about that. Anyway, I'll try to make a quick run through. This is my first row of peas. You can see where they were. The first week I picked out of these, actually was two, let's try to think. Today is a Sunday, so last Wednesday was the second picking. The Wednesday before, I guess that was what, 10 or 11 days. This is a 120-foot row. I picked just shy of a 5-gallon bucket of sugar snap peas. Last week, I picked close to 7 gallons out of the second picking. This coming Wednesday, this is for the market by the way, this coming Wednesday I'll be able to finish off this row and jump right into the second row. The second row is definitely planted a lot denser. They came up a lot denser. Yeah, I mean, again, hey, ignore the weeds, but you can see that. Look at all those, look at those, I can shake them, look at that. These haven't been touched. Some of these are a little bit not quite right, but again, today's Sunday. I'll be picking these Wednesday morning, so they got a good what, 3 days, 2.5 days to grow. Yeah, the weeds are growing too, but you see all that? Those aren't weeds, those are peas. They pulled the netting down so much that they're growing away from you. See, those are peas, those aren't weeds. And these things are just, I don't know. I always have great success here. The first week of the market, I sold 18 quarts of peas. Last week of the market, including here at the farm, I sold probably about 28 quarts. And that's a lot of peas. Multiply that by what I'm charging, it's a good cash crop. Again, here, these are pole beans. You can see them. You see the flowering in there, the purple pole beans. You see them there? Again, the weeds here, these are weeds, but you can see the purple pole beans. They'll start putting on fruit probably within the next 2 weeks. And you can see them all the way down there. You see how wispy they are? Those aren't weeds. Those are the pole beans. I mean, these things can grow upwards of 8 feet. My netting is only about 5 feet, so of course they're going to blow around in the wind. There's nothing here. These are just weeds. What I will be doing here over the next week, if I have the time, I'm going to till this up, put another layer of weed barrier down, or a layer of weed barrier down, and then plant those remaining zucchinis and maybe even some more field cucumbers out here that I showed you in my greenhouse video. All right, so there's a lot of weeds in here, kind of on either side of the row, but in the middle of the row, these are all cantaloupes. Now they're just starting to put on baby ones, like real tiny. You probably won't even be able to find any really, but the growth on these, look at the big mass. This goes halfway down, and then we hit the watermelons, which I'll get down there in a minute. But anything, my field crops, I've noticed as soon as they start putting on fruit, the plants just explode. Now we jump over here to the really crazy growing things, in my opinion. Not the sunflowers, but those look pretty cool anyway. These are my zucchini. Now, it looks like just one giant mass, but there are actually 2 rows here. 4 foot, and there's a 2-foot walkway, or about 18-inch walkway, and another 4 feet. And walking through, you can't even see the plastic. I'll try to hit on a couple. I mean, I picked out of these the past 3 weeks. Got a couple baby ones on there. A couple green ones in there. Look at that. This is some beautiful looking produce right there. This one here, I count 4 nice sized ones on there already. I've been harvesting the big ones for I made chili sauce, or I should say, excuse me, not chili sauce, zucchini relish. But look at this big one. I'm gonna take that. I took 5 of these, this size, maybe a bit smaller, to the market last week, and I sold all 5 of them. One person came and bought 2 of them. She said, I'm gonna make tons of bread, put it in the freezer, and there you go. This is just a generic straight neck green. There's no variety to it. These actually, I think I got them from the grocery store because I didn't have any green seeds left over from last year, or not the grocery store, from like a farm, like a garden center, or actually from a hardware store. But hey, they grew just as well as the other ones did. Look at them. Look at that big one over there. I don't want to touch too much on it, but now here, this is a plant that didn't make it, the first one that I planted, and I replanted it. And this is a crook neck, or I should say a bulbous end yellow, and it's doing well. Now you may see a couple of these and say, hey, that looks like crap. There's another one. Hey, it looks horrible. Where's the other one at? This one here, hey, it looks like garbage. Well, what happened is a number of weeks ago, we actually had 2 tornadoes that came through the area. Not near, well, one was about a mile down the road. The other one was a few miles north of us. In any case, it produced strong winds in general. And the problem was these things put on such big, thick leaves early. Like, look at these. That what's happening is the wind came through and it ripped it broke all the branches. And so you're left with this. There's nothing wrong with it, just the branches are missing. But they're still putting on a couple of zucchini. Maybe after this harvest, I'll rip this one out, replace it with a smaller one. Again, same thing here. Look how big these leaves are, and you can see where they got ripped off there. And there's nothing you can do really about that. Now we're getting into some massive zucchini plants. Look at this. Look at the size of this. Look at that. I can barely put my hand around it. Look at that. This is a crook neck, or not a crook neck. I call it a bulbous end. It's not a smooth straight neck. Look at that. Another big sunflower. I got more. Look at that monster. Just some more straight neck yellows. I think next year, if I do zucchini, which I will, I'm just going to do this variety of straight neck yellow, and then just one variety of straight neck green. The ones here, like the bulbous end ones, they don't really seem to sell as much or grow as fast. Now we're getting into, like, I can barely walk in here. These are getting into the patty pan squash. Now, you want to see a patty pan squash? Look at that thing. That thing got to be close to 6 inches in diameter. And these plants are just massive. Like, look at the size of this leaf. That's my hand. That's 6 inches or so. Look at that. These are pumpkin sized leaves. I've never seen squash, and this plant itself, this is over 3 feet tall. I've honestly never seen plants this big in my life. You know, on a YouTube video, I mean, I haven't searched for massive zucchini plants. And the thing is with these zucchini plants, all of these have not received 1 ounce of fertilizer at all, period. And look how massive these things are. It's just the soil, the compost. I think a lot has to do with the black plastic. You know, the black plastic helps hold in heat early on, help those roots get established, and it really kept the weeds away. And just look at that. Like, that's a mass of zucchini plants. I actually wish I had more that size. Now, excuse me, we're in here. Now, field cucumbers, this giant mass. It goes all the way down, past the netting, all the way down to about my finger. And they're just starting to come on now. A lot of baby ones. And eventually, probably in maybe 2 weeks, I'm just going to have a 5-gallon bucket full of cucumbers. Again, I wish I had more. That way I could just have masses and masses of them. In any case, this is what I have. And over here, the okra. Now, you saw the okra inside. These ones aren't doing as well. They have all this this brown all over. I'm not sure if this is like a, I don't know what you call it, like a rust, but it's just this plant. The cucumbers don't have it at all. The weeds around it don't have it at all. So I really don't know what's going on with these. I'm not sure if these are gonna make anything, because okra is a warm weather crop, a hot weather crop in the South, you know, South Carolina, Georgia, Louisiana, Texas. It's hot like all the time, and in the summertime it's really hot, and they love the heat, just like the ones that are in the greenhouse. If you remember from that video, those plants are twice the size, if not 3 times the size of this. Again, all from the heat. Now we're getting down in here, my second planting of patty pan squash, and look how big these plants are. I'm actually starting to have to step over things to get to them, to get to the different sections. Excuse me. All right, and these are all patty pan squashes. Now we're actually going to be getting into some butternut squash, zucchini squash, baby pan pod pumpkins, and some gourds at the end. I'm not going to walk all the way down there, but that's what's there. Then over here, these are my watermelons. Again, they're just barely starting to set fruit, which I'm really hoping I can make some watermelons. It's getting quite late. It is I think the 3rd week in July, but we have all of August, all of September. We have at least another 60 days, but these plants are just getting the best plant that I've ever grown as far as watermelon goes. Same with pretty much anything in the garden. And you can see here the spaghetti squash already starting to vine. Now, I'll give you the rest of the tour from here. Now, the corn, it's doing okay. I've tried to weed it as much as I could, but the weeds started taking over when I got hurt, and I still have not recovered fully. But I haven't been able to weed this. The corn's still above the weeds, and the plants actually look quite well. This is a late season crop, or late season variety, so I really don't know what to expect. And I think at the end of the day, if I don't get any sweet corn out of this, I think I'm going to be done with sweet corn, just because it's so much work to keep the weeds out. And you know, with planting, this is only 900 feet, and it's 6 rows, and there's so many weeds to do. This stuff here, the row crops, look at that. These are even shading out the spots where the weeds are, so there's no weeds. And then again, over here, this whole rest of this row, all the way up to the top, they're all various types of pumpkins. There are some baby pumpkins coming on already. I'm not going to show you them because, you know, there's not much to look at this point. But I have some gourds down at the bottom, crook neck pumpkins, regular pumpkins, and at the top there's some big Max pumpkins, which once I start putting on some size in the next month, maybe I'll do an individual video on cucumbers or something like that for them. But just look at you can see with my shadow, look at the masses of flowers. Look at that. I don't know if you can see that with the sun, but look at that. There's a mixture of straight eights and calypsos out here. All my divas, which are more of a greenhouse type cucumber, they're mostly female flowers. They're kind of, I think it's parthenocarpic is the term. They, produce mainly female flowers. They don't require really pollination. They pollinate themselves. So those are inside. They're nice straight ones. These are more the pickling type. Again, cucumbers are cucumbers at the end of the day. If you have a choice, some people might like a certain type, but if you're hungry for a cucumber, you're going to take the first one you can see. Look at that. That's going to be perfect size. I'll be able to sell that at the market this week for probably $3. Now some of these you might say, look at the leaves, they look like crap. Well, look at the plant. I'm not going to complain about what the leaves look like. And furthermore, the yellow varieties that almost looks like the yellow straight necks, which is what this section is, it might look like powdery mildew. But last year these had it, and the year before I believe they had it as well. I know at least last year. But because if you look, if it would be powdery mildew, it would be on these, and it would be on those, and it would be on these, and it's not. So I think this is just a trait of the leaves. They turn kind of yellow like that, and they look diseased, but they're not. They're perfectly healthy. Even these green varieties here, they have it on it, but the ones across the way, they don't. So look at that. Look at the size of that. That thing got to be close to 18 inches long. Massive plants, massive fruit, massive plants. I couldn't be happier. Thanks for watching.